they're 8 and 9 years old, they need to learn how to be respectful.
Oh, what did they say that wasn't respectful?
Well, she was brushing my hair and she said, "It's so naughty," in the snottiest voice. And then I asked them to wash their hands and they said, "No, that's so rude."
Okay, so she was brushing her hair and she noticed there was a knot and she said, "It's so naughty," and it sounded kind of rude to you.
It didn't sound rude. It was rude.
Okay, it was rude.
Like, you can't talk to somebody like that.
So from your perspective, you can't talk to somebody like that, and yet she's only 8 or 9. She's just making an observation. And your job as the adult here is, if she's done it in a way that feels off to you, to recast. So you could say, "Oh, I found a knot. Let's brush it out." Right? So now I'm giving her the language that would have been more socially appropriate.
Don't you think she should know that by now?
I don't. She's only 8 or 9, and regardless, she's showing you that she doesn't quite know yet. So the question here is, how do you model for her a different way that feels better for everyone without shaming her? Because once you shame her or yell at her or tell her that's not right, she's going to shut down, and then she's not going to do the learning that you want her to do in order to be respectful.
Okay, I guess, but what am I supposed to do when I'm like, "You need to wash your hands," and they just flat out refuse?
Okay, so you ask them to wash their hands and they flat out refuse.
I know. I told them, like, "I need you to go wash your hands, okay?"
Okay, so you said, "I need you to go wash your hands," okay, right?
Yeah.
So when you're communicating with kids, especially when you need them to move into like something you need them to do, I want you to take yourself out of it. So I don't want you to say, "I need you to." That's the first thing.
Okay, but like, am I supposed to overthink everything I tell them to do?
Well, I don't know about overthinking, but you're telling me that you're making a request and they're not following through. And so the best way that we can get them to do the thing that you want them to do, washing their hands, is changing up how you meet them. "I need you to" is a demand that's based in you. Like, why are they washing their hands? You're going to have more success if you say something like, "First hands, then whatever the next activity is."
Okay, but what if they still say no?
Well, there's another thing that we're going to change. So we're going to get you out of the equation, but we're also not going to say "okay" at the end of the sentence. When you say "okay," that makes it feel like a question.
Okay, but like, they're 8 and 9. They should know that it's not a question when I am an adult and tell them to do something.
Should they? They're only 8 or 9. And when your language goes up like that and you say "okay" at the end, I understand it as a question too. And they're not adults. They don't know about this like socially appropriate thing where somebody ends a statement that is not actually a question with "okay" in order to be polite. They just experience it like a question.
Well, they should still do it.
They experienced it as a question. And if you ask them a question and they say no, and then you make them do it anyway by yelling or threatening or whatever, you have taught them that their voice doesn't matter.
That's not my intention. I mean, I just want them to wash their hands.
Right. And so when they learn in these everyday microscopic moments that you don't value their voice, they're less likely to follow you. Why would they? They've just had the experience that their voice doesn't matter to you.
Okay, what am I supposed to do?
Just say, "Time to wash hands," and then move into proximity. If they do not come with you, you go over there and you use your arms and you're going to sweep them over to wherever it is that they're washing hands. And then you're going to praise them as you do that. Because the fact of the matter is, they're only 8 and 9. They're still learning all this stuff. And when your frame is "they're so disrespectful," they're going to feel that. It's going to come across in your language and how you show up. It's going to break the relationship, and they're going to end up being more disrespectful. And you're going to end up being madder and less likely to deliver a direction or a recast that honors their development. Do you see how we get into this cycle where the relationship is broken, and it happens in tiny, small, and minuscule moments? These are actual conversations I've had with summer camp counselors this week, but the content is true for parents too. Meet your child where they are and assume that they are doing the absolute best they can. And it's your job to take increased responsibility for helping them learn whatever it is that they still don't know.